Getting a computer virus has happened to many of us, in some fashion or another. To most, it is simply a mild inconvenience, requiring a cleanup and then installing that antivirus program that you've been meaning to install, but never remember. However, in other cases, it'd be a complete disaster, for services like hospitals, flight control, or other online services, which no amount of antivirus can protect or undo the damage in time. And since people usually equate general malware like worms and Trojan horses as viruses, we're including them as well. These malware have caused tremendous harm, amounting to billions of dollars and disrupting critical real-life infrastructure. In this list, we will highlight some of the worst and notorious computer harmful software, sorting this list by the financial damage. Number 15. CryptoLocker. The CryptoLocker is a form of Trojan horse ransomware, targeting computers running Windows. The attacks occurred from September 2013 to late May 2014. It uses several methods to spread itself, such as email, shared files, or suspicious downloads. When activated, it will proceed to encrypt certain files on the hard drive and any mounted storage connected to it. The only way to unlock the files is to pay a ransom before the deadline. The ransom amount $300 to $600 in prepaid cash or Bitcoin. Number 14, Zeus. First identified in 2009, Zeus is a Trojan horse made to infect Windows computers so that it will perform various criminal tasks. The most common of these tasks are usually web browser keystroke logging and form grabbing. Zeus botnet will steal the login credentials of social network, email and banking accounts. It managed to compromise thousands of user and computers' accounts, from large multinational corporations and banks, such as Amazon, Oracle, Bank of America, Cisco, and others. In late 2010, the creator of Zeus announced his retirement, but many experts believe this to be false. Number 13, Trojan. During 2015, a large number of bank account thefts have been reported. Attacks had been detected in more than 20 countries. Later those attacks was identified as Trojan, also known as Buget, and Crodex, a malware that specializes in stealing bank credentials. The targets of this malware are Windows users, who open an email attachment in Word or Excel, or a suspicious link through web browser, activating malicious macros to download and install Trojan, infecting the computer and opening the victim to banking theft. Immediately launch fraudulent transactions, install a keyboard listener and performs injection attacks. In early September 2016, researchers spotted initial support for targeting cryptocurrency wallets. Number 12, Flashback. Though not as damaging as the rest of the malware on this list, this is one of the few Mac malware to have gained notoriety, as it showed that Macs are not immune. The Trojan was first discovered in 2011 by antivirus company Intego as a fake flash install. It propagates itself by using compromised websites containing JavaScript code that will download the payload. Once installed, the Mac becomes part of a botnet of other infected Macs, and it could wipe the entire hard drive. The good news is that if it is infected, it is simply localized to that specific user's account. The bad news is that more than 650,000 Macs were infected, including 274 Macs in the Cupertino area, the headquarters of Apple. It is still out in the wild, with an estimate of 22,000 Macs still infected as of 2014. Number 11, Melissa. Created by David L. Smith, the virus that shares a woman's name and made its appearance on March 26, 1999. It started as an infected Word document, claiming to be a list of passwords for adult sites. When it was downloaded and opened, it would trigger the macro inside and unleash its payload. The virus will mail itself to the top 50 people in the user's email address book.
You've got mail.
This caused an increase of email traffic, disrupting the email services of governments and corporations. Companies like Microsoft, Intel and Lucent Technologies had to block their internet connections due to its action. Smith was eventually caught when they traced the Word document to him, less than a week since the outbreak began. He served only 20 months and paid a fine of $5,000 of his 10-year sentence. The virus reportedly caused $80 million in damages. Number 10. Sasser. A computer worm first noticed and started spreading on April 30, 2004. Was named Sasser because it spreads by exploiting a buffer overflow in the component known as LSAS. Local Security Authority Subsystem Service. While the payload itself may be seen as simply annoying, it slows down and crashes the computer, and making it restart, so the users will lose all the unsaved work. The worm will use the system resources to propagate itself, and infect others automatically through the internet or the same local network LAN. This effect was incredibly disruptive, with millions of computers being infected, and important, critical infrastructure affected, such as airlines, news agencies, public transportation, hospitals, public transport, etc. A bounty offered by Microsoft of $250,000. 18-year-old German computer science student Sven Jaskin was arrested for writing the worm. German authorities were led to Jaskin because of information obtained in response to a Microsoft bounty. He was found guilty of computer sabotage and illegally altering data. He was tried as a minor and received a 21-month suspended sentence. Number 9. Nimda. On 18 September 2001. 1 week after the attacks on the World Trade Center and Pentagon, a malicious file-infecting worm hit the world. The worm's name comes from the reverse spelling of admin. Nimda spread through the internet rapidly, becoming the fastest propagating computer virus at that time. In fact, according to TrueSecure, it only took 22 minutes from the moment Nimda hit the internet to reach the top of the list of reported attacks. It kept travel through the internet using multiple methods, infecting emails, websites, local networks, computers, servers, and file shares, slowing down the internet speed globally. It allowed the attacker to access the same level of functions as whatever account was logged into the machine. Even that Nimda affected both user workstations and servers. The worm's primary targets were internet servers. F-Secure found this text in the Nimda code, suggesting its country of origin. Number 8. SQL Slammer. In 2003, a new computer attack caused havoc and chaos around the world. This computer worm that caused a denial of service to a lot of internet servers and websites. The worm exploited a buffer overflow bug in Microsoft SQL Server and Desktop Engine database products. Although that Microsoft patch had been released 6 months earlier, many organizations had not yet applied it. The worm is so small in size that it does not need to write its code to disk, so it only stays in the memory. It spread rapidly, infecting most of its 75,000 victims within 10 minutes, and dramatically slowed down general internet traffic. The slowdown was caused by the collapse of numerous routers, under the burden of extremely high bombardment traffic from infected servers. Number 7. Searcom. Searcom is a worm first discovered in Mexico on July 17, 2001. It spreads by emailing copies of itself to everyone in the infected computer's address book. In addition, the worm sends a random file from the hard drive as attachment, potentially exposing confidential documents or personal information. That's why it is also known as the worm that spreads secrets. The subject line of the email matches the name of the file being sent, scamming others to open the attachment and infect their computer. Unfortunately, the design of Searcom meant that it could remain on a network, jumping from computer to computer, and even reinfecting already cleaned PCs, until the entire network was completely infected. Number 6. WannaCry. The attack started on May 2017 worldwide, targeting computers running Microsoft Windows. The initial infection was likely through an exposed vulnerable in SMB protocol, server message block, by encrypting user data and demanding ransom payments in the Bitcoin, equals to $300 or $600 US. It propagated through an exploit, the NSA vulnerability called Eternal Blue. which was stolen and leaked by a group called the Shadow Brokers a few months prior to the attack. While Microsoft had released patches previously to close the exploit, much of WannaCry's spread was from organizations that had not applied Thesis or were using older Windows systems that were past their end of life. WannaCry also took advantage of installing backdoors onto infected systems. The attack was stopped within a few days of its discovery due to emergency patches released by Microsoft, and the discovery of a kill switch that prevented infected computers from spreading WannaCry further. The attack was estimated to have affected more than 300,000 computers across 150 countries, with total damages ranging from hundreds of millions to billions of dollars. In December 2017, the United States, United Kingdom and Australia formally asserted that North Korea was behind the attack. Number 5, Code Red. Code Red was discovered on July 2001. The worm targeted servers and computers running Microsoft IIS web server, exploiting a buffer overflow problem in the system. It leaves very little trace on the hard disk as it is able to run entirely on memory, with a size of 3,569 bytes. Once infected, it will proceed to make 100 copies of itself, eating a lot of the system's resources. It will then launch a denial of service attack on several IP addresses. Famous among them was the attack on the White House website. It also allows backdoor access to the server, allowing for remote access to the machine. The most memorable symptom is the message it leaves behind on affected web pages, hacked by Chinese, which has become a meme itself. A patch was later released and it was estimated that it caused $2 billion in lost productivity. A total of 1 to 2 million servers were affected, which is amazing when you consider there were 6 million IIS servers at the time. Number 4, Configure. Configure, also known as Down Up, Down Add Up, and Keto, is a computer worm targeting the Windows operating system. The first discovery was in early November 2008. It uses flaws in Windows OS software, and initiated dictionary botnet attacks on administrator passwords. The Configure worm infected millions of computers in over 190 countries, including government, business and home computers. Major attacks was on the French Navy computer network, the United Kingdom Ministry of Defense and the Parliament networks, Bundeswehr, the Unified Armed Forces of Germany, Manchester City Council, and Manchester Police Computer Network, making it the largest known computer worm infection since the 2003 Welkia. The worm spread over the internet, local networks, USB drives, email attachments, and file share. The worm origin believed to be from Ukraine. Number 3, I Love You. I Love You is considered one of the most virulent computer virus ever created. 10% of the world's computers were believed to have been infected. It managed to wreak havoc on computer systems all over the globe with around 15 billion worth of damages. It was so bad that governments and large corporations took their mailing system offline to prevent infection. It was designed in a way people will check the love confession attachment. In reality, the attachment was a script that poses as a text file. Once clicked, it will send itself to everyone in the user's contact list, and proceed to overwrite files with itself, making the computer slower and slower, eventually unbootable. The virus was created by two Filipino programmers, Rionel Ramones and Juanel de Guzman. The two were never charged, as there were no laws about malware. This led to the enactment of the e-commerce law to address this problem. Number 2, So Big. In August 2003, a worm infected millions of internet-connected computer, running Microsoft Windows, later known as So Big. As of 2018, So Big is the second fastest computer worm to have ever entered the wild, being surpassed only by MyDoom. So Big is not only a computer worm in the sense that it replicates by itself, but also a Trojan horse in that it masquerades as something other than malware. The So Big worm will appear as an email with attachment file, which once opened scan the computer for email addresses, before sending scores of messages to those addresses via its own sending program. The virus also implements a background program that turns an infected computer into a relay system for further message. This part of the virus has led many computer security experts to believe the virus was written to try and beat spam filters. Microsoft announced that they will pay $250,000 for information leading to the arrest of the creator of So Big Worm. To date, the perpetrator has not been caught. Number 1. MyDoom. Surfacing in 2004, MyDoom was a worm affecting computers running Windows. Became one of the fastest spreading email worms since I Love You. It was named by McAfee employee who had originally discovered it. The worm spreads itself by appearing as an email sending error, contains an attachment of itself. Once executed, it opens up a backdoor to allow remote access. Second stage, it launches a denial of service attack on the website of SCO Group, the software company, taking their website down for more than 10 days. Final stage, it will send itself to all email addresses in Outlook, and copies itself to any shared folder to propagate itself through that network. SCO Group and Microsoft offered $250,000 each, as a reward for information leading to the arrest of the worm's creator. It caused an estimate of $38.5 million in damages, and the worm is still active in some form until today.